Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, sister.
Well, hello.
We are real thrilled. So we've been, as y'all know, we like to do these series because we love them so much. We like to go in on a topic, go in to the root and really dig up all the medicine, all the juice, all the things for you all. And so we are starting a new series. We have a lovely guest on today. This series is the Rich series. That's right. We're talking money, we're talking wealth, we're talking abundance, we're talking wealth codes, we're bringing in budgeting, we're bringing in wealth management, all of the things that you could literally think of when you hear the word rich, or what comes up for you when you hear the word rich. Uh, that's what we're going to be offering all of you. This is going to be a 9-part series, and we are so very excited to be kicking this off with Diana Yañez. Hello, welcome in.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Mhm.
Happy to be part of this series.
So grateful to have you. For those of you new to her work in the world, she is a money coach at All the Colors and wealth manager at Strategy Squad. Lots of things in regards to educating people around financial decisions, accountability. You do a lot of coaching. I know you do a lot of workshops, whether it's individual or group. And Deanna really specializes in helping women of color entrepreneurs create sustainable money systems for themselves, their loved ones, and their communities. We're so excited to learn about all of your work in the world and the impact that you're making to those that you're working with, that you come in contact with. So welcome in.
Thank
Hi.
you. Thank you.
Y-
I'm so
We
glad you're here.
this you're also a part of this strategy squad, which I'm all about some good strategy. And when we're talking finances and money, I tell you what I have noticed specifically for those out there identifying as women, we don't want to talk about it. Like I'll ask women or clients and I'm like, "Great, how much do you desire to create? How much would you want to ask for in this promotion?" These types of things. And it's like,
Yeah, so
"Oh,
I know we're often taught to not want anything, to just make ourselves small, make
Mm.
ourselves fit, make do with what's available. And yeah, so learning how to own our what we want is super important in order to start to charge for it. Like I work a lot with that in entrepreneurs, definitely.
yeah." So who's the strategy squad? Let's talk about
So
it.
Strategy
How did
Squad,
you fit
yeah,
this in
so
our
Strategy
life?
Squad is like my wealth management part of my work because there's multiple ways that I provide services. Strategy Squad is investment management focused. It's financial planning focused. It's for people who want to invest outside of the market. They actually want to invest in like community investment offerings, things that are more regenerative, things that are actually creating the world that we want to see. So it's my clients there are people who like our minimums are $1 million to invest. So once people reach that threshold, we help them manage their funds to invest in mostly for retirement, for any kind of goals that they have coming up. And Strategy Squad was founded by Nicole Middleton, who is, I mean, she's a CFP, she's a woman, she's a person of color, she's Black. And she really, her vision was to help more people bring their values into their money. So much of the time we think that like who I am, what I believe in is here. But then when it comes to money, it's like we compartmentalize it, we keep it separate. And really, like, how can you be in integrity when you're actually working against yourself in some ways? So Strategy Squad
Mm.
is a way to like bring people's values into their investments. Then,
Now,
yeah,
I
go
hope we
ahead.
didn't lose anybody when she said $1 million, y'all. Tune in, stay with us, because I know that you could hear a million and be like, "Woo,
Yeah.
that's not me.
Well,
That's not
see
going to
if
be
I
me. That
mean,
won't." Yeah.
honestly, certified financial planners, we serve the top 46% of wealth holders. And that's a complaint that I hear from people all the time. That's like, who do I talk to if I don't have that amount of money? That's why I
Mm.
do all the colors. That's why I do money coaching. That's why I do workshops. So with all the colors, I work mostly with people who are money avoidant, and most of us are because money can feel kind of confronting, right? Like actually looking at the numbers can feel hard. And that's priced very differently. Like it's really accessible. And the workshops are also another way that like I know that's how Stacey and I met, right? Coming into communities and sharing like what are the foundations that you need to have in place to live a balanced, fulfilling financial life. And for people who meet the minimum, I also help with investments. So your people are able to access help, maybe not at that specific thing. It's kind of like not everybody needs a surgeon.
You mean, I like that. I like that a lot. Not everyone needs a surgeon, but everyone needs a good doctor for all the different things, for prevention, for maintenance, for all those good things. I I love, and I'm just noticing how your whole face just lights up as you talk about this, which speaks to your great passion for this topic around wealth and wealth management and being in integrity. And so I'm curious because we said earlier, like for those who identify as women, we kind of like, ugh, with money. And then I know speaking from my own background of being in the Black community, it's like, oh, money. Okay, certain kinds of conversations happen or don't happen. And so I'm curious how you even got into this. I wouldn't even call it work, got into this service of helping people with their connection and relationship to money and wealth.
It was pretty circuitous because at first I thought I will never work in finances. I actually worked at an investment company when I was in college, and we, again, $1 million under investment, and it was very much like very money oriented, like getting more and more and more. And I knew my parents are both immigrants and they both immigrated to the US from Mexico and they were able to like financially do well, but they put a lot of things on the back burner. They like took things off, right? Like their only focus was finances. So when I found myself working in finances at this broker dealer, I thought I know that's not the answer. I know that hoarding money, having more money isn't the answer. So I left for a decade. I did other work. I was a social worker. I was looking at population projections. I was a business analyst. But for me, financial services really is a calling. I'm good at the work. I understand the topics. I'm very intuitive. So when I'm working with people and I sense that they're overwhelmed, I'm able to like rephrase things, create a lot of metaphors. And it was, I think it was spirit that was like, you actually belong in finances. And now I see that it's true. People would land in my life and like show me that this would be a good work for me. It was like reading different books, meeting different people, going to networking events. It took me a year to decide that like, okay, let me go this route. And yeah, and I look now at the things that I'm able to do because as women we're often told to just make do with what's available. It's really important to me to like help people let go of that. I know that's a protective mechanism, but it's hurting us.
Totally. It's like we all need a pause to let that really land because really hurting us. And I have some curiosity fluttering around of what are the top however many, but I am certain that you hear repetitive patterns. So if we were to offer some reframes that we could give our audience today of like the top like mindsets or phrases that you hear, around money and building wealth or whatever it might be for someone, I would love to invite you to share those. I'm sure they're like on the tip of your tongue. Like I hear these all the time.
Yeah, the things that you hear, like, I just don't know how to manage it. I'm overwhelmed. The information seems too difficult. There's never enough. There's always an emergency. There's always unexpected things. Those are kind of like the big themes of like, I don't know how to do it. There's not enough. A lot of limiting beliefs. And I developed these money archetypes to help people kind of see what their patterns are. Because when we're talking about something that's like both so intimate as like money and also so kind of esoteric, is like you can see the numbers, but still like all of the feelings associated with it. It's really helpful to be aware of the different patterns, right? And there's like 5 archetypes that I've developed, and people can find them on my website to kind of like figure out which ones they are. But I'll just run through them briefly. The first one is the giving tree. So this is a person who is always helping others and maybe forgets to help themselves, right? So like the shadow and the gift in each one of them. We then have the magnolia, which is a tree that's always blooming. So it always looks luxurious and green, but it's not like experiencing the rest of life. It's a lot of like spending or having status to kind of hide some existential dread. We have the saguaro, which is a desert tree, a desert plant that hoards money because you never know when it's going to rain again. So they're all well prepared. They're the ones that have really deep roots that go all the way into the aquifers. We have Heaven's Tree, which is our activist that like brings green spaces into areas that don't have any green spaces. They're also the people who can imagine like what we need to create, but they can get stuck going into places where they're not going to get what they need, right? They'll look for a sidewalk to grow in as opposed to like, let me actually find something that's more supportive. And the fifth one that's really common amongst us as entrepreneurs is the wisteria, which is throwing out ideas, throwing out vines with innovative ideas, right? But there's a little bit of like money naivete. There's a little bit of like avoidance of money of just like, I'll just throw it out and see if it lands. So understanding and kind of identifying ourselves with maybe identifying the people that we work closely with, like maybe your parents or your partner, like somebody, and just seeing how we all come from a different environment. We have different money patterns. And the goal is really to integrate the gifts and challenges across multiple so that you're not just like lopsided, hurting yourself with one of them, right? So when people say there's never enough, I am always curious, like, well, which of these archetypes, like, where is that coming from? Is that coming from because you're afraid that you're not going to be able to provide for yourself in the future? Is it because there were emergencies, like paying your car insurance or your property taxes that happen every year? They're actually not an emergency. You need to get prepared for those, right? Is it because you own a home and there was a home renovation or someone got sick? Like, there's actually things that people need to question before they have these limiting beliefs. Like, are those things actually true, or are there things that you could do to change them? At the same time, we do live in a system that's very exploitative, right? We do live in capitalism. It does extract from us as much as it can. So it's both. It's not just like 100% responsibility on the individual. There is like systemic things that we need to look at. Like the leading cause of bankruptcy in the US is medical, right? That's just, people did nothing wrong. They just had a medical emergency that was beyond what insurance would pay. So it's both things.
That hit me very deeply because I'm thinking of the conversations I heard as I was growing up. And I'm going, oh, that was that tree. Oh, that was that plant. Oh, that was that tree. And going, are my beliefs about money, wealth, access to money or wealth really my beliefs? Or are they primarily the ones that I just grew up with and held on to because I then got evidence that supported all of those beliefs? And have I really paused to go, wait, what is the belief I want to choose? And also keeping in mind that, yeah, real life is happening. There are medical things that happen. I mean, the unexpected things happen. But again, it's those beliefs that could influence how prepared or unprepared I am for life's events or emergencies that come up. And so I'm just recounting in my head, like all of the conversations and going, oh, well, no wonder. And oh, it makes sense why I made that decision in my business. And oh, I was always in this, I don't say panic, but in this, it's a scarcity. It's a part of a scarcity mindset around you got to always be prepared because something is always going to happen. There's always going to be a need for a new roof or a car breaking down or a medical emergency. And so, yeah, I can see myself in all of those trees, but I can see that desert one, especially, like, just hold on to it because you never know when it's coming again and you don't know what's going to come. And like, oh, that is not a really relaxed state to live in. and to be in the relationship that I'd like to create with money. And so I know I'm not the only one. If anyone else is watching or listening and are identifying with any of this, just put it in the comments. And of course, go to Diana's site to take the quiz and see which tree you might resonate most with. But yeah, just that duality of, yes, be prepared. Things happen and all of that, but you don't necessarily have to like hold on. And you don't have to hold on to the beliefs that
Yeah.
aren't even yours. They're just beliefs you grew up with.
Yeah. I think money is so similar to food in many ways of like, yes, we need it for sustenance. And also we kind of add all kinds of other things to it, whether we mean to or not. And developing a relationship with money, it can be something that's joyful. I often tell people that when I do coaching, my goal at the end of it is for people to see, like, checking in on their money, like what's their net worth, what's their balances, how are they on track to reach their goals, to make it something in between, like going to the dentist for like that 6 month deep clean, and also like a deep tissue massage, because it can feel really good to see how you're like taking care of yourself in this very concrete way.
Mhm.
Right. It's also super important that people look back and see progress that they've made, that they consider, like, I was able to help this family member when they had this emergency because I had the savings for it. Like, just like there's all kinds of things that we rarely like pause to be in relationship with our money unless there's a problem. And if you only go and look at your money when it's problematic, like you're never going to want to look at it, right? You're just going to have bad memories with it.
Mm. These archetypes are amazing. I always love a good energetic connection to be able to anchor in reality and like what's really going on. And so, how could someone go deeper in these, right? So, if someone's saying, "Oh, I'm the wisteria and I'm the giving tree," or like I really know that these two are feeling so familiar, or it was a pattern I saw in my family and now I'm really holding this one. How do they begin to unravel the shadow side of it? And when we're saying shadow side, what is that for them? How do we know what the gifts could be? Because I think oftentimes, because it has to do with the frequency that is money, we can get really lost in the shadow. We can get really lost and like it feels like a weight pulling us down to be like, there's no gift here. Or what is the gift?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts on that, because these are epic. I love
That's
them so much.
that can be a lot of the work of just, again, kind of deciphering out what are your money patterns, what are your money beliefs, right? How do these archetypes help you? That's kind of like that's the money values of where your money life is planted. Oh, sorry, Jill, I lost the thread. I was gonna say something specific. Just give me 1 second. So if people want to go deeper into these patterns, definitely go to my website. I've got like a little write down around each of them. The invitation is to look at all 5 and see which one do I need to get more of those gifts? Which one do I need to lean into? I do this like little shadow exercise during the money archetype workshop where I met Stacè, where we look at which of these archetypes do you like the least? Which of these are you just really annoyed at? Which of these do you think, like, if they didn't exist, the world would be better? So as a financial planner, I identify a lot with the saguaro, similar to you, Stacè, of just like hoarding money. I'm just like, I don't know when it's going to come back. Let me just hold on to it. And I used to have a lot of resentment against friends or people that I knew that were like in the magnolia, where they would give themselves the gift, where they would do the things that they wanted to do, where they just felt a lot more free. And maybe they were working with dad. I don't know. I don't know what their full money story was. But what I learned from looking at my resentment towards magnolia is that I wasn't
Mhm.
allowing myself any of that. I was actually envying that. I needed to give myself permission to enjoy the work that I was doing more, to enjoy the fruits of my labor, literally. right? So it's really integration. I think the shadow is always an invitation to see what else do we need, right? If we're acting out in some ways, it's because something's needed. If we're going back to food, if you're eating a lot of sweets, maybe you need more sweetness in your life, right? If you're feeling really scared around money scarcity, maybe you need to look at having other ways of creating income, or you need to look at like, what do you think this money is going to protect you from, right? Having other types of safety nets. I remember a client who said that she knew that her problem wasn't the amount of money that she had, because no matter, she could imagine a catastrophe bigger than any amount of money, right? So it was her catastrophe thinking, not so much the amount in the bank.
I'm like just thinking back to a time when there's like so many thoughts going, right, Stacey? Like I can see you over there. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. But there is different moments in my life when I can feel it's almost as if my nervous system is just like tightening. And then when I take a moment to pause, like you were saying, Diana, like, and just let's be here. The reality is that's how I am being in my external life as well. And so not like skipping my monthly massage, or like hadn't been to a massage in months, and my body is physically in pain. And then that's where I am with money, is like, hang on, hang on, hang on. And my body is clenching and hanging on and tight. So I think that's such good awareness in that you just shared.
And we get used to that tightness, right? Like when you have some kind of pain, you're like, this is just the way my body feels. It's the same thing in our money, and it's an avoidance strategy. You know, if you don't look at it, then you don't have to make any changes. So at some level, I always tell people, like, don't start until you're actually ready to start.
That's really good advice, and really different than what I know a lot of people hear all the time. It's like, no, start now. You have to get on this path now. You have to. But you're right. If the person is in such resistance, they're not going to do the work. They're not going to be fully present. They're not really going to be open. It may create more resentment for them. Like, see, this is why I don't do this, because it hurts. It's too painful, or it's uncomfortable. I love anytime I hear what other people would call contrary advice. Like, I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah. People just need to listen to themselves. Again, I call it a relationship with money, and it's both ways, right? We have to listen to what our money's telling us, what are the numbers telling us, and also have money listen to us. Like, this is what I need.
Yeah. That's
Ooh, I
really
love
juicy.
that. This is what I need. So I've formed this little practice of I don't know how often I do it, but I will go and just sit and like look at my bank accounts. And then I will log in and be and not for any reason, right? Like there's nothing going on. I just have, however many years ago, desired to have a different relationship. And that was like a starting point for me, is to just like get in and look. And praise be, now I love budgeting. I'm like wedding planning. I got the whole budget sheet. Y'all better believe I got like how much is owed, how much to be paid. I know where we're at. But if there's someone out there just starting out or is in this avoidant, you know, which is a lot of us, listen, I get it, was me. Where does one begin?
I have what I call like your money tree in full bloom, and there's 3 different layers to it. At the bottom is the soil, like the soil that you're planted in. Those understanding those money values, those money archetypes that we talked about, understanding your money history. In the middle is more of the concrete actions that we usually associate with money. It's understanding what your past decisions have been, your debt, your employment history, the alimony that's owed, your present, how are you currently earning income, and then what are your future long-term goals. And at the top, like the sun that all of this is growing towards, it's like your vision of your best self and having community around you that supports you. Where for anyone that's like embarking on money changes, it can be really lonely for you to start doing something different with money than everybody else around you. So it's important to go out and find other people, even if it's just like You could listen to what I have on my website. You can go to there's Barry Tessler, who I think people would really enjoy. She wrote a book called The Art of Money. There's other resources. So where should people start? First, learn how to hold money. Learn how to have an emergency fund. Learn how to build one up, right? Put money aside so that you can be ready, because there's no average month. There's always something that happens, and we need to have cash cushion to move through those things. Also, sometimes people get into this habit of like when there's any extra money, they immediately have like debts to be paid off, or there was something that they wanted before that they now have the money to get it, and they never really learn to have that cushion, which means that they're more likely to go into debt. Right? So learn how to hold cash. The second thing
By the way,
is
that's like a hashtag cash cushion. I'm all about it.
Cash
I
cushion.
like that a whole lot.
yeah, just because life is bumpy. Life is bumpy.
No, I love it.
And sometimes
Yeah.
that cushion, you could also include like do you have a family member that would like be willing to lend you money, that would be comfortable, like you would be comfortable borrowing from them? Like think of who is in your network. It's not just us individually, like we are interconnected with other things. It's really important, if you have dependents, if you have children, if you have anybody that relies on you for support, have insurance, life insurance. Like term life insurance, super simple. Go out and buy that. That'll help you sleep better at night. Whenever I have clients purchase that, they're like, wow, I had this stress in the back of my head of like, what happens if I'm gone? And then it's gone, right? Like now you've solved that concern. And then understand your values, understand what's important with your money so that you can create a spending plan. You can create a budget. Jill, congratulations on having a budget for your wedding. Imagine you have a bunch for other things. It's really helpful. It's so helpful to prioritize ahead of time. What is it that you want to really value, right? That you really want to put your energy and your money towards. So those are the places, like learn to have cushion, learn to have cash, have insurance for anybody that relies on you, and create a spending plan that includes your future desires, your future goals, and that also includes taking care of yourself today, like having some of those magnolia pleasures.
I'm just imagining the magnolia, like, oh yeah.
I love all of those.
Hey, the gift is a magnolia. Like we live in a society that can be
Yeah.
so workaholic. And here is this archetype that's just like, I am receiving the sun. I am luscious. Like it's a beautiful thing. There's something
In the
about like,
winter too.
yeah,
Like she's
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
some. I have some on this mountain. Yeah, it's so good. What just such like grounded advice. Really appreciate just the way in
Me.
which you teach and have shared your work and first part one, like way to kick off this rich series. These money archetypes, I can feel myself. I'm still like, it's landing in me because it's so true. Y'all go click on her website down below and read up on all the things and shoot her a message, schedule a call if you want to go deeper in your shadows and the gifts, and only if you are ready to do the work too. And also you can just have a conversation too. That's always open.
No.
Woof. There's so much more I have that I'm wanting to talk about. I'm holding it. We're going to wrap this one, and y'all tune in next week because we will be back same time, 11:11 Eastern. We're going to continue this conversation with Diana. And until then, enjoy everything. You might need to listen to this
At least.
another couple times to gather all the nuggets. Yeah. Thank you so much, Diana, for your time. And we'll see
it's a
you all
pleasure.
next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.